Are you the kinds who face extreme difficulty in saying no to the people around you, as in your colleagues, your bosses, your friends, your relatives, your spouse? It kind of makes you feel uncomfortable, kind of awkward if you have to say no to these people. You're not alone, my friend. There's so many of us who face this predicament of being able to use no as an answer. Everything is basically rooted in our childhood programming, my dear friends. Everything is actually literally rooted in our childhood. Codependents, super empaths, super sensitives, their brain, it gets into a panic response when a sudden demand is pressed or a boundary is crossed suddenly. And in that panic response mode, the brain just freezes. They cannot answer. Forget about answering no, yes, or whatever. The brain just freezes. This freezing of the brain is nothing but that wounded inner child who was faced with a similar situation during his initial years, and he was either criticized, blamed, called selfish by his caregivers for refusing to obey them. So he was called a disobedient child, and at that point of time, being a powerless child, all he could do was numb his feelings, suppress his feelings, and simply obey the orders of the caregivers. That was the survival and the adaptive mode that he had to adopt. Today, as an adult, he is still operating in the same default mode and not able to answer to his people around him. They may even be his co-workers or his own children, his own, as I said, spouse, or all those people, bosses, or anybody. So in the childhood, he suppressed his emotions. He is still suppressing his emotions in the adulthood, because he has not unlearned that behavior that was required to survive as a child. But as an adult, he must have unlearned that, undo that codependency thing to survive today. But some of us, many of us, do not unlearn that practice of numbing the emotions and suppressing the emotions. Another problem with codependency is that codependents, they somehow deep within, they like to be liked by the people around them in a positive manner. They are the kind of people who like to be liked and need to be needed. In that process, they just forget that they are diluting the boundaries. They are allowing people to push the boundaries and run over them. One more problem with the wounded inner child is that as a wounded inner child, the person was, as a child, the person was required to step into the role of an adult because of the pressing circumstances that he faced in his family. His parents overly stressed, or facing some anxiety, depression, and other mental health disorder, or certain life situations going on in the parents' life which forced them not to spend more of time at home and solve those problems that they were facing in life, because of which the child had to step into the role of an adult and take care of his home, his younger siblings, his own parents, and most of all is his own personal needs and emotional needs. Now, as a child, he was doing that. As an adult, it's deeply ingrained in his mind that it is his duty, it is his primary duty to look after people around him. He was doing that in the childhood stages. He's still doing it as an adult. Also, some people are just not taught what safe boundaries are during their childhood. So something which has not been taught, how could they implement it in an adulthood stage? In that process, if you allow people to cross those boundaries, and because you fear saying no, you must have also noticed that this becomes a habit for people to cross those boundaries and make you expand your area of work. In fact, in case you have dealt with narcissists, they only operate on generating energy from the people outside of them. So, at least in my case, I have come across so many narcissists who squeeze the energy out of you because you are a codependent. So, this is where the self worth, high self love that matters to people like us, people who have been living life with low self love. Hi, I'm Dr. Meenu, helping you cleanse your mind, body, and soul so as to live lighter on this planet and also develop healthier relationships with people around you. So, let's take the journey. So, how can people cross boundaries or violate your boundaries? Some people call others at inappropriate times, expecting them to respond. Message them at uncomfortable times, expecting them to respond. People pick up money, they pick up items without seeking permission. They seek money never to return. And there are some people who go out with their friends together and always expect their friends to spend, never taking their hands into their own pocket and removing a single penny. People may also, which starts getting serious, there are people or friends or co-workers who may insult you or make fun of you publicly. There might be people who gaslight you. Gaslighting is a term which is used for narcissistic trait people who, by gaslighting, what is meant is they make you question your own reality. So you start doubting your own reality as to did you actually say that? Did you actually do that? I would want you to do a little more research on gaslighting to get a clear perspective on what exactly gaslighting is. In authoritative position, some authoritative figures may expect you to work beyond office hours. They may expect you to take up risky tasks, even unethical tasks at times. These are the ways, and there are several other ways through which people can cross boundaries. Mainly it is through the verbal way, wherein you feel that you being insulted or insinuated because of the other party's way of talking to you. Now, why would anybody allow anyone to push the boundaries or violate the boundaries? As I've already discussed, this is a major problem with codependents, that they seek validation outside of themselves. They seek approval outside of their own sphere, because of which they become people pleaser. And as a people pleaser, they cannot understand where the boundary has been violated, and everything gets diluted, and people cross the boundary and they may feel hurt, they may feel stressed because of that, but at a later stage. At that point of time, the brain remains in a frozen state and responding becomes very difficult. I was myself a codependent for several years. I was seeking worth outside of me. I thought I was a rescuer. I thought I was a fixer of challenging situations. I could fix any challenging situations. Yes, I could, but I was extending my limits. I was extending my own boundaries, for me, it was so severe that even resting during illnesses would make me feel guilty and make me feel shameful of myself, as if the world is going to judge me as bad, that I'm avoiding that work. What a silly and dysfunctional way of operating. Out of 365 days a year, if few days you fall sick and you need rest for yourself, and not even sick, if just your mind says that you do not want to work or do not want to do particular task, you must honor your emotions. There is nothing wrong in honoring your emotions. In fact, for me, I didn't even know that there was a word for these codependency traits that I was carrying. In fact, I didn't even know that I was carrying codependency traits, and these traits that I have, they are known as codependency traits. So for me, it was a long journey which I had to take, understanding what exactly I am, what exactly it is known as, and then how to undo all that codependency traits in my adulthood. The problem with codependents is that they have severe trust issue. Trusting themselves is also difficult, and trusting others is also difficult. So what happens is they build a strong wall around them, assuming that this is the way I'm safe and I have strong walls around me. I don't allow good people, bad people, good energies or bad energies to enter my comfort space. But the way universe has created us is, as human beings, we are meant to create connections, we are meant to create attachments. So sooner or later what happens is those boundaries, not boundaries, walls I mean to say, you break those walls because you need to be attached with the people, you need to have connections with the people. And when you allow that walls to be broken, what happens is the bad energies and the good energies, everything comes. That is how we operate. You have good people around you, bad people around you, manipulative people around you, empaths around you. It is not the problem with empaths or manipulative people, it is the problem with you. So once you break those walls and allow all kind of people to enter, you eventually gravitate towards the manipulative, narcissistic and toxic people. So what is happening is, despite having good people around, you're again getting gravitated towards the wrong people. Again, following the same cycle, the same pattern, getting into a complete breakdown at a later stage, and then again building the walls, realizing that no, this I cannot trust people. This is a major problem with codependence, and that is why I always say that do not build walls around you, create boundaries. There are no walls, let everybody come in your space, but if you've worked on your inner self, if you've healed your inner child, if you've healed your childhood traumas, you would know what kind of people are toxic, manipulative, and what kind of people are empaths and good people who are operating in high vibrational energy. And the low vibrational energy people, you would yourself know when to stop them. So you have to learn to create those boundaries and let everybody operate around you. Create those boundaries where those people who try to violate the boundaries understand that this is where I can operate and in Minu space, and if I cross this boundary, Minu is going to not like it. So the toxic people will eventually, as I have already mentioned in some other video, that they will eventually fade away. It is the non-toxic, healthy people who would develop healthy relations with you, and they will stay with you in your sphere. That is how you have to operate. Yes, creating boundaries can be very challenging, especially if we have been operating as a codependent since several years. Creating boundaries then becomes very challenging. Main reason is that there is no tangible evidence that a boundary has been crossed. So how would I know that somebody has crossed the boundary? Somebody casually says something, somebody casually makes fun of me, my let's say my looks or my way of working. Somebody casually makes fun of me publicly. In case of codependence especially, because the intuition is so weak, they operated such a weak intuition. As a child, they were told to follow certain rules, so those following of the rules made them lose their own intuition. So they follow the intuition of their caregivers, and as an adult they follow the intuition of whatever other people say. So they feel that whatever is being demanded, commanded or ordered or directed is what is the gospel truth, and they should be following that. Therefore, since the tangible evidence is missing, creating boundaries can be very, very challenging for codependent people. Another challenging part about creating boundaries is we tend to compare those who cross boundaries with extreme cases, as in the previous boss or the previous partner used to cross too many boundaries, and these ones are, at least compared to them, are lesser in crossing the boundaries. What a dysfunctional way of thinking. For me, I operated with this thinking for several years, unless I could not call anything as an abuse. unless something which is very major, which is something which is very tangible, which can be seen, I could not call anything as an abuse. This is something which I would request the policymakers to have a very serious look into. It's not only the sexual abuse which is an abuse, even verbal abuse and more seriously emotional abuse in the workplace is an abuse, and it should be taken care of, because several employees, they go through a lot of mental stress apart from the physical draining of their energies, because of the toxic bosses who drain them and deplete them of their energies by being unkind to them through silent treatments, through emotional abuses. These should be, in the workplace environment, as a workplace ethic, these things should be taken very seriously, because nobody gets up in the morning, gets ready to go to the office with an assumption that he or she would be mentally or emotionally abused. Everybody has the right to be acceptable in the society and live with dignity, which is so important. So now, in creating boundaries, another challenge which comes is, once you decide to create boundary with whosoever at home or in the office, you're creating a space between yourself and the other person. Otherwise, there was complete dilution. There was no space between you and the other person. So when you decide to create that space, there are other people who are ready to fit into that space. So for example, in the office, to your boss, you refuse to work beyond certain hours. There are people who are going to come and fit into that space, trying to prove that if he or she cannot work till around 8 o'clock in the evening, I'm there to work till 10 o'clock in the night. In the home space, if you and your spouse, you're trying to create a boundary between you and your spouse, there are in-laws who would try to fit into that position, try to give him that space, try to give him that comfort space, that what she or he cannot do is what they can do. So that fear is always going to be there, but you have to stand guard to one point, that you are not born to please people around you. You will not lose out on anybody. There is no abandonment issue which should bother you. Your future statements should have more of I am, I cannot, this is who I am. So once you start operating from that mode, things become less challenging and creating boundaries becomes a little easier. In the first place, why should we be creating boundaries? You may ask. Creating boundaries is very essential, because if somebody is invading into that space which is making you feel uncomfortable, which is making you extend your physical and mental boundaries beyond a certain limit. So for example, somebody has taken a decision on your behalf because you are agreeable. You are always agreeable. You do not get into any negotiation. You do not fight back. You do not like to confront the person. Somebody has taken a decision on your behalf which is going to impact you on the long run. It is going to impact your routine in the long run. Why should you not be creating boundaries? That is why it is important to create boundaries, so that people understand they cannot take decision on your behalf, and if they take decision on your behalf, you should be open to confront that person, have a healthy negotiative capability to negotiate and reach a conclusion which is a win-win situation for the other person also and for you also. It requires a lot of tactics, it requires a lot of understanding and strategizing things, and can be very tough, especially for codependents who always live in a submissive mode. For codependents, it's more of whatever others decide, I am going to just follow that, which is a dysfunctional way of working. And that is why I keep on saying that work on yourself. Once you clear your past, once you cleanse your soul, things become a little more easier, your decision making becomes much more clearer. You gain that confidence to say no without feeling guilty, without feeling ashamed. So how to create healthy boundaries between you and other people? The basic fundamental that you must keep in mind when you want to take that first step towards creating boundary with people is that you are not creating boundaries to punish people. boundaries are not created to punish anybody. They are just meant to protect your well-being. They're just meant to protect your own emotions. They are just meant to honor your feelings. That's the only aim in creating boundaries, not to punish anybody. And therefore, the tone that you use should not be condescending. The tone should not be superior. You do not have to get rude and hurt people with your tone, with the pitch that you use. It has to be polite, assertive, yet in a negotiatory manner. Negotiation and confrontation is a tool which helps you create boundaries, and which is a little difficult for codependents especially. And a large part of creating boundary also stems from the fact that if you have done inner work, if you know your self-worth, if you have self-love in you, creating boundaries becomes a little easier. But otherwise, creating boundaries is just, if I talk about creating boundaries, I may tell you these are the kind of sentences you can use for creating boundaries. It will not work unless you have done that inner work, unless you have healed and addressed your childhood traumas. Creating boundaries is going to be very difficult, which means that I can sum it up in one line: undo the codependent traits that you carry. You have to undo the codependency that you're carrying, and this undoing of the codependency can only happen if you do the inner work, heal your inner child, come out of your traumas, let the past go, heal your past. The automatic transition as an adult is shown in the form of creating boundaries. This works wonders. It has worked wonder in my case, and I know that literature also can very clearly claim that you cannot create boundaries just by learning or being taught by somebody unless you have done the inner work. So my previous video on meditation, through which you have to address your inner child, let it talk to you, come to the surface, speak with you, and then forgiving everybody, including yourself. Once you do that inner work, which is a little painful also, but this inner work will automatically transition you into a better adult, a confident adult, which will help you create boundaries smoothly without any guilt, shame, or that fear of abandonment. I tell you, the first time when you start creating boundaries, your core wounds will start coming to the surface. Your abandonment issues will definitely start coming to the surface, and that's where it's very important to actually address your core wounds in the first place. Now, what exactly works when it comes to creating boundaries? There are 3-4 strategies which I feel one by one you can adopt. One is spiritual work, which I totally abide by, I totally agree by. You have to know yourself first. Self-worth will come only when you know the self. In most of the cases, codependents do not even know self. Learn to feel your feelings. Learn to understand what you feel at certain point of time. If you feel good, learn to honor your emotions. If you feel bad, learn to honor your emotions. First point is to learn to have self, so that you develop that self-worth. Once you understand the self, you develop that self-worth, and you work on self-love, other things become just external thing, and they will not affect you to an extent that you remain scared, fearful, or in shameful or guilt kind of mode. You will come over the surface and start analyzing things like a spectator, and will have the courage to take the right decision at the right time, and that frozen brain, the brain which goes into a frozen kind of state, will stop operating in that manner. Another rule which has worked magic in my case is theory of detachment. It was developed by me, theory of detachment, which means that although as human beings the Creator has created us to have attachments, to have connections in our life, which are important as a human being to be alive, for our survival. These are important things, but understand when to detach. understand when to detach from situation, people, places, jobs, relations, so that when you emotionally detach yourself from such situations which are causing you discomfort, the decision to create boundaries becomes far more easier. So the theory of attachment and detachment, yes, we do need attachments in our life, but at the right time to detach from some people who are sucking the energy out of us, or who are depleting us of our energy, is also important, so that we are able to create right boundaries to save our own well-being. So learn to say no as a sentence. It is so important. Last theory or rule which has worked for me is self-development. Nothing can work more than working on yourself. Enjoy small things in life. Enjoy people, places, situations which gives you that inner happiness. The places where you go and it makes you feel great. The people sitting with whom you feel inspired and very motivated to work and think on positive terms. So concentrate on those things which make you feel alive, which make you feel happy. What are we fearing when we want to create boundaries? What are we fearing? Are we fearing losing our jobs or relations? Do we have those abandonment issues? Whatever we are fearing is actually something which we should have lost long back, because that is how you upgrade to the higher level. You are operating and attracting lower vibrational energies, and once you let them go, once you let them walk away, or you walk away from such people, places and things, you move up and escalate to the higher level. And that's where you realize that, oh, I was wasting my time, my effort, my energy into wrong situations till now. So next time when you say no or you create a boundary, pat on your back, because you worked for yourself. For the first time you thought about yourself. For me, it was the first time when I learned to say no. It was a magical moment, because all these years I could never have the courage to say no. So when I started saying no, it made me feel so proud of myself. So feel proud when you eventually get the courage and the guts to say no. Also remember that when you begin to start creating boundaries with people, usually what happens is mentally we attach the outcome to the boundaries. So if I tell a friend of mine, do not touch my items, do not pick my items without my permission, we start expecting the outcome that now because I have opened up, so now he or she will not pick up the items without my permission. Do not attach yourself to the outcome. You have set the tone. So imagine that some people might be extremely toxic in their behavior. You have at least expressed your emotions. The biggest achievement is you have learned to open up. You have learned to authenticate yourself. You have learned to accept your own reality. So once you start speaking up, the biggest challenge you have fought, and that win is not whether the person accepts what you say or not, and whether he abides by that or not, and whether the outcome is as per your desires or not. More than that, what is important is that you spoke up. You at least gathered the courage to speak up for the first time. So do not attach yourself to the outcome. It is going to set the tone for future conversations. So once you tell somebody this is not acceptable, the second time you can remind the person that I told you on so and so day not to cross my boundary. You're still doing it. And the third time it again sets the tone. So walking away from such toxic relations becomes easier. Walking away from such toxic jobs, from such toxic situations becomes easier if you start setting the tone. So rather than thinking about the result, think about gaining the courage to have that openness to express your emotions. That is one adult and healthy way of behaving. There are few boundary creating sentences which I want to discuss with you. which you can use in certain situations, because this creating boundaries is a very exhaustive subject. I may have to have another video on this, but currently I'm just trying to give 3 or 4 sentences, something like, my friend, you just crossed a boundary. I am not going to put up with that insult or joke. That you can use in some conversations. In case of workplace environment, you can very assertively in some situation use the sentence, I am sure, sir, you are not trying to be insulting by commenting on my whatever the person is commenting. I am sure you are not trying to be insulting by saying that. Another boundary creating sentence could be, I cannot do it, but I can help you find someone who can do this. And last but not the least, very assertively, looking into the eyes of the person, you can say, I am overwhelmed with responsibility and currently I cannot take up this responsibility. So these kind of sentences will create that kind of space between you and the other person, and you can safeguard your own well-being. Remember that if you do not learn to say no, sooner or later your body will say no. And that is what Dr. Gabor Mate in one of the conferences says, you have to learn to say no, because the cost of not saying no is going to be far, far greater than cost of saying no. So learn to say no, my friends. Let's start the journey. I hope to hear something from you. Put up in the description box whatever you want to say. Send me a mail. Let's have more engagements on this. I hope this video has helped you in gaining that courage to at least speak up for yourself, to stand for yourself. Nobody will stand for you unless you decide to stand for yourself. But you will stand for yourself only when you know your self-worth, your self-love. And this will happen only if you decide to heal your inner child. See you, my friends. Thank you so much. Thank you.